Welcome, everyone, to Rutgers, the voice of college football. I'm here with my fantastic co-host, Gabriel Pickup. Donovan couldn't make it tonight, but he'll be with us on Wednesday when we talk about Rutgers Pro Day. So without further ado, today we're going to talk about the top 10 quarterbacks in Rutgers football history. So, Gabe, why don't you start us off? Who's number 10 on the list for you?
Yeah, just real quick, definitely want to stress that Wednesday's stream, you do not want to miss it. It is going to be Rutgers' Pro Day. As we know, a few Rutgers players probably should have made the NFL Combine and simply did not get the invite. And Wednesday will be their chance to kind of show that whether or not they deserve to be there or how they measure up against their fellow prospects. So you definitely want to tune in for that stream, 7 o'clock like usual. My number 10 is a guy that, before you say how is he a top 10 Rutgers quarterback, this list was tough, okay? It's kind of top heavy. We have had, and another thing about this list is it makes you realize how far that we've come in terms of quarterback prospects because, guys like Ethan Kaliak-Manis, hopefully Dylan Lonergan this year, or AJ Surace, these statistics weren't always givens, and here we are critiquing them week to week, which is unfortunately a blessing considering how we've had our quarterbacks perform in the past. But my number 10 is, you'll remember him if you've been a fan for the past 20 years, Chaz Dodd, number 10. He started 2010 and 2011. He had just over 4,000 yards as a starter. He started a little bit in 2013 too. 24 touchdowns, 20 interceptions, 6.8 yards per attempt. We 24 to 20, it's a positive touchdown interception ratio, which looking through these guys, that's very rare, unfortunately. And another lovely stat, negative 286 rushing yards, but he got 34 positive rushing yards in the big 2013. So number 10, Chaz Dodd.
All right, Chaz. So our good friend Chaz makes the list. Okay. So my number 10 is not good old Chaz.
What?
No. Instead, it is Eric Hochberg. He was the Scarlet Knights starting quarterback 1984 team that included a win over 18th ranked West Virginia on November 10th. He threw for 163 yards and 1 touchdown. And for the season, threw for 9 touchdowns, 1,905 yards on 162 of 305 passing. Certainly not among the best in Rutgers history, but belongs in the number 10 spot. And he was voted most courageous athlete of the year in New Jersey. So, hey, bring him in at number 10.
Is that because he had the guts to play at Rutgers in the 80s?
I'm sure that was part of it.
Well, that's fair enough. My number 9 is, and by the way, I don't have Eric on my list, so I was very happy to hear his accomplishments at Rutgers. My number 9 is Chris Laviano. He started 2015. He played a good amount of 2016, and he played some garbage time in 2014 as a freshman. 55.8% completion. His best year, his second year, he did complete 61% of his passes. 2247 yards in 12 games, 16 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. So a 4-3 ratio there. He does have 21 touchdowns total, over 3,000 yards total. And a lot of my criteria for ranking the 6 through 10 guys was really touchdown interception ratio, because a lot of the guys, unfortunately, had like a 1-3 or 1-4 touchdown interception ratio. So I was just looking for any sort of positivity there. And once you reached the over 1-1 ratio, then I was looking for the other intangibles. But Chris just barely beat that up. And, he didn't have a star-studded tenure at Rutgers. He played in a very ugly 2010s campaign for Rutgers pre-Schiano, and we had some Chris Ash action in there. But nonetheless, his numbers weren't that bad for a pretty bad time in Rutgers. So number 9, Chris Laviano.
Number 9, Chris Laviano. Okay, we differ again here. My number 9 is a name that everyone's going to recognize, because this name was the starting quarterback for Rutgers this season. Number 9.
That's ridiculous.
Ethan Kaliak-Manis comes in at number 9.
Oh my God.
Calm down, Gabriel. Calm down.
No, it's so ridiculous.
Because you have a biblical name doesn't entitle you to interrupt. So 2025, 3,125 yards, 20 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. 2024, 2,696 yards for on 53.9% passing, 18 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. A very good quarterback for the Scarlet Knights. Didn't perform well against the Ohio States, the Oregons, and the like, but ultimately deserving of being on the top 10 list. Number 9, and appropriately so, accurately at number 9 is Ethan Kaliakmanis.
I'm going to make my case for him when I list his name off, but just know I'm not angry. I'm disappointed. My number 8 is probably the most well-known post Rutgers player in terms of quarterbacks, and it is a guy that Jason O just mentioned, and that is Tom Savage. Now, he played for the Texans a little bit. He unfortunately also played for Pitt post Rutgers, and he did pretty good there. He had 3,000 yards, just about 21-9 ratio. But, for us, he had 16 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 14 touchdowns his rookie year. His completion percentage was in the low 50s, but he played well enough to transfer from the Big East to the ACC, ultimately land in the NFL, represent Rutgers along the way. And, it sucks because this was pre-NIL, so that was when transfers, they really stung. But nonetheless, he represents us well. And as a freshman in 2009, very, very close to when Mike Teal stopped playing for Rutgers. It was a tough bar to live up to. He couldn't quite do that, but he did show some excellence, enough to go to Pitt after and then to the NFL. Number 8, Tom Savage.
All right. Savage is on my list a little bit higher. For number 8, I went with Brett Kossup from the 1976 Rutgers team. He was inducted into the Rutgers Football Hall of Fame, led that 1976 team to an 11-0 record. And admittedly, some of these rankings at the bottom are tough, but I gave him the nod at number 8.
You said, what was the quarterback you said for number 8?
Brett Kossup.
Huh. I do not have him on my list. Not because he wasn't a winner, that's for sure. But my number 7 is he started for Rutgers in 1992, and he played some of 1993 as well. I really have him in here because he played 19 games, and he had 2,374 yards, 25 touchdowns, 18 interceptions, and that is Brian Forte. He had a 124 rating, 125 yards per game. He actually completed, well, it looks like here, he completed 13.5 yards per completion was the yards per completion ratio. Yards per attempt, just over 6. And like I said, I'm looking for ratio for the 6 through 10 guys. So Brian Forte is just barely in there for me.
Okay. Well, for number 7, and again, these rankings can be, all over the place. But, I got to go with Tom Savage at number 7. Tom Savage was an outstanding quarterback, and in his first season did a fantastic job for Rutgers. May well have been in the Rutgers record books after his freshman year, but unfortunately he was injured in his sophomore year. But won the offensive MVP in 2009. Great quarterback, Tom Savage. You're on the list at number 7, but certainly I could see you being higher on the list.
Yeah. If he was here longer, Jason, I don't know if he would have been 1 or 2, but he would have for sure been top 5. And I guess you could have made the argument because unfortunately it's a theoretical. But Jason, I do want to say that you will be disappointed to find out your number 1 guy is not on my list. And that is because he had 41 touchdowns, but 52 interceptions. He had less than 50% completions. He started a bunch of games, but he does have a ton of yards, 6608, but he just was too inefficient for me. And I know that that's kind of a tough way to talk about a Rutgers quarterback as too inefficient because we've had our fair share. But believe it or not, once you get around to the top 5 of this list, we don't start talking about the least bad. We actually start talking about some really good quarterbacks. including someone that Adam has at number 9. But the next player on my list at number 6 is going to be good old-fashioned Ryan Hart, number 6. He started for 3.5 years. He has over a 60% completion percentage, 52 touchdowns, 52 interceptions. I had to make the exception because of his completion percentage, and he has 8,482 yards. So this guy was, although he wasn't the most efficient with the turnovers, he was still throwing it lights out. And you got to think that if he just cut his turnovers in half, he would be the best quarterback in Rutgers history.
Yeah, that's a good call there. At number 6 for me, when I was a young kid, I used to watch Ernie and Bert on Sesame Street. Really did like Ernie. Ernie was a nice guy. Scott Ernie was also a great quarterback. 41 touchdowns for over 7,000 yards in just 39 games. And the biggest game for Mr. Ernie was that 1988 victory at Michigan State. And he was the team MVP in 87, 88, and 89. Also the golden era of professional wrestling. So he comes in at number 6.
Well, you know what? I'm sorry, Chaz, but Adam, you convinced me. I'm moving Chaz outside of the top 10.
Banish Chaz from the list. He should never be heard from again.
Fine. Fair enough. But Ernie at number 6. Everyone else down a slot. Chaz. I can't make that sound. But, thank you for coming. And definitely a name that will be an elite poll in a couple of years. But yes, that is my new number 6. And my number 5 is Ray Lucas. 43 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. He started from 92 to 95. He had just under 6,000 yards, 56.5% completion. He was that guy for, I want to say, 2.5 years. His sophomore and junior years, he was pretty efficient. He had good completion percentage, and some of his freshman year, he was really good. He regressed a little bit his senior year in terms of completion percentage, but he did have over 2,000 yards passing that year in 11 games and 16-to-1 ratio. So coming in at number 5 is Ray Lucas.
Absolutely. Good call. In the 80s, I used to watch a show called Star Search, and the host of Star Search was Ed McMahon. What a great show, looking for tomorrow's stars, and often discovered them. At number 5, and this gentleman could be higher on the list too, Mike McMahon.
Okay, you do have him.
Yeah, I mean, he threw for, I think it was 41 touchdowns, over 6,000 yards passing, and he had a QB rating of approximately 109 in 35 games for the Scarlet Knights. Played for 5 seasons in the NFL before I think he moved on to, I don't know, USFL or CFL, something like that. Great quarterback. Certainly should be on the list. I could see him higher, but he's definitely at my number 5.
All right, so it sounds like the most controversial parts of our list so far are you having Ethan at 9 and me not having McMahon on the list at all. I feel like we'll both get some heat for those.
It's all right. We forgive you.
All right, well, I guess I'll have to leave it to the audience whether or not I'm forgiven and Adam. Number 4, and this is where it gets a little dicey because he played in a pretty poor time period for Rutgers. It was just after our glory days, but I'm going with Gary Nova, number 4. He had 9,258 yards in 46 games. So just over, if you're doing the math, just over 200 yards per game. He had 73 touchdowns to 51 interceptions. And he had a 129 rating. He had 13.5 yards per completion, 7.5 yards per attempt. And overall, I just feel like he was what I said earlier about I said it about Chaz Dodd. Unfortunately, he's not on the list anymore. But that's what I said about him and Tom Savage. And I give the ultimate prize of carrying us through some bad times to Gary Nova at my number 4 ranking.
Yeah, I spent 4 years living in Indiana and spent some time in Indianapolis, really nice city. But I did not like Lucas Oil Stadium. wasn't a big fan of it, but I am a big fan of Ray Lucas. That's why he comes in at number 4, throwing for 5,900 yards and 43 touchdowns, passer rating of 120.2, and then a 6-year career in the NFL with the Jets and Dolphins. And, of course, he was the quarterback for that 1994 victory over West Virginia. So Ray Lucas in at number 4.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's probably the first guy that both of us have at around the same spot. All right, so my number 3 guy is going to be someone that you at home might not remember. Well, you won't remember him, but you might not have heard of him. But he went 14-5 for us in the late 60s. He had 29 touchdowns in 2 seasons and 9 interceptions. See, I don't think it's the number of seasons that qualify you. I think it's how good you are in those seasons, and that's why I'll touch on why I have Ethan at number 2. Little spoiler alert there. But this guy, number 4, is Rich Policastro. Great name, by the way. So, yeah, in 19 games, 14-5, 137 rating, 29-9. So over a 3-to-1 touchdown interception ratio, 57% completion, just under 3,000 yards in 2 seasons. He had 1,690 his second season. And if he played for 4 years, he could have been number 1.
Very good call. Okay, I'm going down to my number 3 now. And there was a show in the 1980s I always liked with Stephanie Powers. It was called Heart to Heart. Every episode, they overtook the bad guys and left us feeling happy at the end of the episode. Ryan Hart comes in at number 3. Ryan Hart, he played in 38 games, but 8,482 yards passing, 52 touchdowns with a QB rating of 124.5 and average 223.2 passing yards per game. He was an outstanding quarterback, in my view, belongs among the top 3.
Yeah, and I have him just outside of it. So, we both have him pretty highly touted. Now, number 2, like I said earlier, Ethan Kaliakmanis. He had arguably a disappointing first year. And in this quote-unquote disappointing year, he had 18 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. He had 2,696 yards. He completed 54%, so that's above average for these guys on the list. He had a solid first year, could have done better. And then this past season, like I was calling all of last offseason, he skyrocketed. He had one of the best passing seasons in Rutgers history. I'll call it the best passing season in Rutgers history altogether. I'm not talking about on a per-game basis or consistency. Obviously, he has had bad games, so as my number 1 guy. And I think that Ethan is the most talented quarterback in Rutgers history. Last year, 229 for 368, 62.2% completion, 3124 yards, and this is in 12 games, by the way, 8.5 per attempt, by far the most on the list so far, 20 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. So all these guys that I had before him, it was like they were just barely above the 1-to-1 touchdown interception ratio, or 2-to-1, maybe 3-to-1. But Ethan with 38 touchdowns and 14 interceptions, that is just below the 3-to-1. And when you have that many touchdowns and that few interceptions, it catches my eye on a list like this, where a lot of quarterbacks are very prone to mistakes. Ethan increasingly became one who did not make that many mistakes down the line. And Adam, you've seen him with your own eyes. I understand that he didn't play here for 4 years or even 3, but in his 2 years he was here, he was electric. He, despite our record, had the best individual passing season in Rutgers history. And the only one that comes close individually is the guy I have at number 1. But the difference was that the guy at number 1, and I'm going to go ahead and say him just because of the little flow I'm in right now, he was winning the games, and that is Mike Teal.
Yeah, Ethan dropped the ball against Penn State. I digress. So one of the great basketball programs in the country is Villanova. You get it? Villanova. Number 2, Gary Nova. Now, Gary Nova is an interesting character because, from Elmwood Park, which is right by my hometown in Hasbrook Heights, threw for 9,258 yards in his tenure at Rutgers, 73 touchdowns, but 51 interceptions. So he certainly could turn that ball over. Senior year in 2014, threw for 2,851 yards, 22 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. He had a great arm. He was an outstanding quarterback. Some may disagree with this placement because of the turnovers, but I think overall, talent-wise and statistics-wise, I'd give him the nod at number 2.
Yeah, fair enough. And so you're going to go ahead and agree on the number 1?
I am in 100% agreement with you on number 1, Mike Teal. Mike Teal did a fantastic job for Rutgers. I mean, no doubt about it. I mean, he owns most of the I think he has most of the passing records for the Scarlet Knights. 59 touchdown passes, QB rating of 135.4, and led the Scarlet Knights to a victory in the 2006 Texas Bowl, team MVP in 2008, drafted in the 6th round of the NFL draft by the Seahawks, and led Rutgers to wins over number 3 Louisville and number 2 South Florida. He's my number 1.
And you know what's funny? 2 things people forget about Mike Teal. Number 1 is his best year was not in 2006. In fact, his year in 2006 wasn't really that efficient. 12 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, 55%. And his rookie year, his freshman year, I should say, he had 2 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. But he had a solid junior year, and he made plays his sophomore year when it mattered. But his senior year was on par with Ethan's that I talked about. The difference is he did play one more game, but he had 3,418 yards passing, 25 touchdowns, which I believe that is the school record for an individual season, 13 interceptions. And that was the year where he became he went from a system quarterback to a guy that had real NFL promise. And unfortunately, it didn't work out all that well for him. But that wasn't because of his senior year. He had a really good senior year. He had a great Rutgers tenure. And I believe that Gary Nova holds most of the total Rutgers records. But that senior year, Mike Teal does have a lot of the individual records. And Ethan was really darn close and just a little more efficient, but just couldn't win as much. And that really wasn't all his fault. A couple of games were. That Oregon game, when everyone does bad, you have to put it on the quarterback, and the quarterback will tell you the same thing. So I said that Oregon game, but the Illinois game, that's the one. That's the one game where Illinois has the second worst defense in the Big Ten to yours truly, Rutgers, and he completed less than 50% of his passes, and we only scored, I believe it was 19 points to 38, and that was the game to me where he just didn't look like himself. But Mike Teal, he looked like himself pretty much all the time right after his sophomore year.
Okay, so who do you put ahead of one of them? Do you put Chaz above Ethan?
No, of course not.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering.
I gave Chaz the boot.
Oh yes, that's right. That's right. Well, I've got Ethan at 9. You've got him at 2. Hey, we'll see a good reflection of his abilities at Pro Day on Wednesday. So definitely want to be here on the show on Wednesday for a comprehensive rundown of Pro Day. We're going to be evaluating every player. It's going to be a fantastic show, and we're already preparing for it. So hope everyone's going to be here for what's going to be one of our best shows ever.
Yeah, I'm excited. Do you think that Ethan runs over or under a 4.84?
I think he runs over a 4.84.
I'm saying he has some sneaky athleticism. I'm saying he runs a 4.82.
I say 4.93.
Well, as long as it's better than a 5. Hey, let's just, if he beats Brady's, then technically speaking, he's already ahead.
Didn't Brady run like a 9-second 40 or something?
It wasn't that ridiculous, but it might have been a 5. Let me see.
It was like a 5 something, right?
It was, yes, a 5.28.
What a goof.
I mean, he was a little chunky at Michigan, too.
Yeah, he went out to become probably the best quarterback in history. So speed sometimes doesn't kill. So anyway, any final thoughts, Gabe, on the shortened show as we prepare for our grand Pro Day show on Wednesday?
I'm excited to learn more about these guys individually. And yes, I am one of the co-founders of the Athan fan club. Although I think there's a guy that has me beat. His Instagram account name is Athan Kaliak Manis Lover. So I think he has me beat. I promise that's not me. I'm interested to learn more about these guys, their measurements, their benches, their verticals, their 40-yard times. And unfortunately, I don't think it'll do Athan too much favors with all that stuff. Maybe his bench, but
no, he's not going to be benching anything. He is a quarterback.
He has a strong arm.
I don't care as much about his like vertical jump or bench press or 40. He's a quarterback. I want to see him throw the ball and see his accuracy.
Well, I'll tell you, bench is probably the most important measurement for a quarterback. Either that or the 40 time, but it's pretty hand in hand.
We'll see.
No,
sure? I think Kelly Kamenis lover. Are you sure?
I promise I'm not. I will dismiss this rumor right now.
The Freudian slip.
I will get him on this show just so that we can confirm that is not me.
Gabe, I think that was a confession.
Depends how you look at it.
And you're trying to blame somebody else. That was clever.
No, it is not me. But I am definitely high on Athan's stock. The same way I was for Manungai, and not many other people were.
Yeah, well, you're right about Manungai, that's for sure. And you might be right about Athan, so we'll see. All right, well, we are going to be back here very shortly in 2 days, less than 48 hours. So we hope you'll join us for a great show on Pro Day. Donovan Gibbs will be with us along with our great co-host Gabe, and we look forward to seeing you. Until then, go Scarlet Knights.
Go Scarlet Knights.